Hey, what's going on, guys? Since UFC 296, Colby Covington has gone on a humiliating media tour, lying about injuries, making up excuses, claiming that the UFC is rigging fights against him because of his support for Donald Trump, and just sycophantically worshiping a grown man in Donald Trump because that's all he knows how to do. And he recently did another interview, and I've already done videos on multiple different interviews that he's done since UFC 296. And I wasn't planning on making another one, but when I saw this new interview that he did with a news station, and I saw how delusional he was, and I saw how comedic that this interview was, I literally laughed out loud watching this interview, and we're going to react to it in real time in a second. I was like, you know what? We got 4 week off period with no fights, no fight cards. Why not make another Colby Covington video where we can call him out for his delusional behavior? And also towards the end of this interview, he hints at his future career and his longevity with the UFC and what he may be doing after his UFC career is over, which seems like it's just going full steam ahead and may be over very, very shortly. And I think it's something that he's been setting up, and it's not even really him that hints at it. It's the newscaster that hints at it. I think it's something that Colby's really been setting up over the last few years when he's been hiding in witness protection. And I just wanted to break down this interview because I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was delusional. And I know people are going to say, oh, Joey, you're playing right into Colby's hands. He wants attention. At this point, Colby Covington's stock is so low. My channel isn't building him as a star. You know, even when people were claiming he was a star, he's fighting an A-side in Jorge Masvidal and selling under 400,000 pay-per-view buys. So I don't think Colby Covington's stock has ever been as low as it is currently with the loss against Leon Edwards and the way he performed against Leon Edwards. I think the majority of fans are turning on him. So why not during this 4-month break, or not 4-month break, 4-week break from MMA, why not make another video breaking down this clown these are all the things I've been saying about him for the last year, and he robbed us of the welterweight title picture. We could have saw a legitimate title challenger fight Leon Edwards at UFC 296 who would have showed up, who would have deserved the opportunity, and would have actually fought and tried to win the belt instead of Colby going out there. And because he's so obsessed with a political figure, and that political figure is there watching him, he freezes and he doesn't know what to do and he doesn't know how to fight. And on top of that, he's coming back from a long layoff. So he robbed us of basically 9 months in the welterweight title picture and completely embarrassed himself, and his stock completely plummeted in the process. And one thing I do want to discuss before we actually get into the interview is something I talked about in my recent video, but it was towards the end, and I wanted to make these points early on in this video because it's something that a lot of people won't say. Colby Covington, and we'll talk about this a little bit as we react to the interview, Colby Covington got favoritism and got a title shot because of his political beliefs. He would have never gotten a welterweight title shot if he wasn't a Donald Trump sycophant, okay? He would have never returned after a damn near 2-year layoff to a title shot when you have multiple other contenders, 17-0 Shavkat Rakhmonov, Belal Muhammad, 10-fight unbeaten streak, 4 top 10 opponents who are currently ranked. He skipped over both of them because Dana White is also a Donald Trump sycophant. And my theory behind it, and I talked about this in my previous videos, and I'll link both those videos down in the description so you can go check them out in their entirety, is my point is that had he not had this affiliation with Trump and this sycophancy obsession with Donald Trump, he would have never gotten these opportunities. And now he's using it as a crutch and an excuse for why he was shafted. And I just think it is completely delusional for him to be saying these type of things. And he's going on these news shows where he's not even, I mean, these people, it almost is parody to me. I don't watch a lot of news. I don't know these anchors. I don't even really know these stations. But it almost seems like parody. And that's what he's doing here. And I'm wondering if there's people that are actually watching this and thinking, you know, maybe Colby's right. Maybe he did get screwed. Maybe the UFC did rig it against him. He got all the opportunities that he received because of his worship of Donald Trump. And I truly believe that Dana White wanted Colby to win the title because there's an election coming up in 2024. And Dana White wanted to have a UFC champion to use to spew out propaganda and prop up his buddy Donald Trump. And it would be a free advertisement. And it's kind of a mutual benefit because the only reason Colby has any fans is because he's kind of scamming Donald Trump supporters into believing in him just because he supports Donald Trump. And I think that's kind of the whole reason Dana White was like, Colby definitely deserves it. He deserves the shot. We're giving him the shot. That is why. That is my theory why. And nobody will really say that. I think there's some people that will say that after the fact now. But this is something that I've kind of believed for a long time, and it's become stronger and stronger over the past month or so, really realizing what was going on here. But let's get right into the interview. I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's get into the interview because this is one of the most hilarious interviews I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, this is borderline satire, but let's listen.
You don't follow the UFC, you might not know the name Colby Covington, but you should. Covington is a brash, unapologetic former UFC welterweight champ.
Former welterweight champion. I mean, I guess he didn't say undisputed, so he's former interim champion. But this guy, you'll hear this guy. I don't know who this guy is. His name is, I've seen it somewhere, Bowling or something like that. He knows nothing about MMA. He knows nothing about Colby.
But even more famously, he's a friend and outspoken supporter of the guy you might know, former President Donald Trump. Last week, with Trump sitting ringside, Colby lost his attempt to regain his title.
He lost his attempt to regain his title. What title is this guy talking about? Does he know anything? Is this guy considered a journalist? Somebody let me know down in the comments. Or is this just some news anchor who has no journalist skills at all? I mean, to regain his title, what his interim welterweight title he lost in like 2018?
And while the stats show that Covington outfought his opponent,
the stats show that Colby Covington outfought his opponent. I'm done. Yeah, I guess his name's Eric Boiling or Bowling, I guess is how you pronounce it.
Still lost by a decision, unanimous decision. And according to Covington, that's because his political stance and his support for former President Trump.
That's Colby's claim. If you watch the previous videos, Colby has claimed that the judges were against him because of his support for Donald Trump. But he says more of that in this very interview.
After the fight, Covington said the UFC judges have never favored him and, quote, they hate me because I support Trump.
Colby has lost 2 decisions in his career, and both of them were very, very clear.
Just like America under Joe Biden, Trump derangement syndrome has no borders. It even infiltrated the world of sports, and Colby Covington...
I had to look that up, Trump derangement syndrome, and basically it's something like, you know, people who don't like Trump, like using it in other situations, something along those lines. But I will say this guy and Colby Covington are both deranged. And this interview gets worse and worse as you listen to it. And we'll see towards the end of the interview, Colby, or actually really it's the anchor, hints at Colby's future. And that's a topic that I think a lot of people haven't really spoken about.
Is its latest victim. Join me now.
Colby's his latest victim. I mean, is this satire? When I saw this, I'm like, you know what? I got to do a video on this. This is literally satire. Colby is the victim here.
He's UFC champ, great American, Colby Covington.
He's a great American. You don't even know him. You guys don't even know each other. You don't hang out. You don't even have each other's phone numbers. Great American. Colby's a great American. He's comparing people's dead fathers to Hitler. He's telling, oh, I'm going to take you to the 7th layer of hell, so you can say hi to your murdered father. And this guy's a great American. What has he ever done? What has Colby ever done for America? I'd love to know.
So now you know what it feels like to be supportive of Trump and then go out into the world and, you know, just get your teeth kicked in left and right. But
get your teeth kicked in left and right. What is this guy talking about? If anything, get your jaw broken, because that's what happened to Colby, not getting his teeth kicked in.
I think the punch stats were there. I think tell us why you think you should.
I think the punch stats were there. What the? Do people really watch this? Is this why? I'm assuming this is cable news. This has to be cable news. Do people still watch this? Is this supposed to have any type of integrity? This is why people don't trust the news.
Should have retained that title.
Retain the title. So now Colby had the title and was going in defending it. Or maybe he meant regain. This guy doesn't even know simple definitions of words.
I thought I landed more strikes. I had more control time, 5 minutes. I finished stronger than him,
I finished stronger than him. I finished strong. Yeah, that's definitely on the judging criteria. Whoever finishes strongest gets the victory. I thought I landed more strikes and I thought I had more control. That's not any of the scoring criteria, really. It's damage-based scoring.
Punching him on his back, taking the will out of him, but
he took the will out of him. Yeah, you really took the will out of him not fighting for 4 rounds. For those of you who maybe didn't catch the fight, Colby clearly lost the first 4 rounds. It was not close. It was not debatable. The 5th round, you could make more of a case for Leon Edwards than you can make any of the first 4 rounds for Colby Covington. And the only reason Colby won the 5th round is because Leon Edwards attempted to grapple with him and ended up on bottom, and then Colby just laid in his guard doing nothing for the rest of the 2 minutes and 30 seconds that was remaining. That's the only reason he won the 5th round, in case you missed the fight.
My whole career isn't just this one fight. My whole career, I've had to battle against the death being uneven. The judges scoring against me because
his whole career he's had a battle against the judges scoring against him. Colby Covington has 17 wins. 9 of them are via decision. That's the most wins he has via a certain method of victory. He has 4 by knockout. I don't remember the last time he's knocked anyone out. 4 by submission and 9 by decision. So historically, the judges have favored Colby Covington. He's lost twice by decision, and both of them were in the last 3 years. Once in 2021 at UFC 268, and once just recently at UFC 296 against Leon Edwards. This guy is the ultimate victim. Talk about having a victim complex.
They obviously hate Trump. All the people.
They obviously hate Trump. The judges obviously hate Trump. Again, I'll refer you back to the beginning of the video. Colby Covington has got nothing but favoritism due to his outward political beliefs.
In these positions have big time Trump derangement syndrome. So, that's definitely hurt me in my career.
They keep using that term, derangement syndrome. I think Colby's deranged. And I know people are going to say, he's playing a character and this and that. You're falling into the trap. This guy, I don't care if he's playing a character or not. This guy he's trying to convince people of what he's saying. He believes this stuff. I think he's been in character for so long, he's lost himself in the character. And this guy is deranged, and so is this news anchor as well.
It's also hurt my social media because I'm completely shadow banned on, the big social medias that everybody uses for.
On the big social medias that everyone uses, I'm shadow banned. This is the same Colby Covington that he claims, as well as the UFC claims, as well as Dana White claims, that, yeah, I'm a big draw. I'm very popular. Everyone knows about me. No one comes to see this guy fight. Nobody listens to this. I pick all the big numbers up in the interviews on YouTube, and I get all the clicks on Embedded. So which is it? Do you have a lot of influence, or do you not have a lot of influence because you're being shadow banned? Typically, people trot out the term shadow banned when they feel like nobody gives a fuck about what they have to say. And that's pretty much what Colby is. He pretends to be a draw because he thinks perception is reality. But in all reality, under any metric that you may look at, Colby Covington is not a proven draw and has never proven to be a draw. But instead of accepting the fact, okay, maybe because I go out there and lay on people's legs and just grind a wrestling decision for 5 rounds, maybe people don't like my fight style, or maybe people don't like my corny pre-scripted lines where I stumble over my words. Instead of accepting responsibility for that and trying to be better, I'm just shadow banned. I would have sold more pay-per-views, but I'm shadow banned. I would have more Instagram followers, but I'm shadow banned. I mean, I would have had so many more followers on X if I wasn't shadow banned. That's just it. He's being shadow banned. The man's putting Colby down.
For sponsors and all those things. So it's been tough, but I'd rather go out standing up for what I believe than bowing down and taking handouts from the devil. Literally, like the devil. You see all these athletes taking these paychecks.
He's taking handouts from the devil. I'd rather do that. Dude, this guy promotes betting on a regular basis. Not that I'm saying betting's the devil, but you could make a claim like, okay, well, this isn't really, good to be promoting to your followers or whatnot. I mean, Colby is just full of blatant propaganda.
And just getting paid off to just, talk about these disgusting left talking points. And, I'm not going to ever sell my soul. No amount of money is ever going to be able to buy me off. So
this is a guy that's saying, I'm not going to sell my soul. He insulted a man's murdered father for potential clout. He doubled down and then said that man's murdered father, compared him to Hitler, a mass murderer who attacked people based on their religious beliefs and other attributes and other physical things as well, because he wanted to try to make a quick buck and he wanted to try to build his star power. Make no mistake, Colby made those statements and uses this shock value because nobody cares about him otherwise.
It's an honor to represent President Trump. He's the best and biggest fighter we've ever had in America. The guy could be enjoying his life on the most beautiful property in Palm Beach, but he said, no, I want to come back and fight for this country. He wants to deal with the smear campaign of him.
This guy cannot get Donald Trump's scrotum out of his mouth. This is embarrassing. I've said this in previous videos. I want to say it again. The new nickname for Colby Covington is Donald Trump's Monica Lewinsky. I really want that to start as a trend in the MMA community. This is Donald Trump's Monica Lewinsky.
And his family. He's willing to put up with all these rhinos coming after him for his love of God and country. So God bless President Trump.
There you go. And you think, Colby, you think the judges have it out for you because
again, the judges have. I mean, there's probably people watching this that are thinking this is truthful. There's probably people watching this like, yeah, they got it out for him. His support for Trump cost him the fight.
I know Dana White is a friend of Trump.
This is the best part because the guy calls him out kind of in a way, in a very subtle way of everything I've been saying in this video. Well, wait a second. Donald Trump is like best friends with Donald Trump and Dana White are basically best friends. Is Dana allowing fights to be rigged due to political affiliations? That's a bad look for the UFC. Essentially, Colby Covington is claiming the UFC is rigging fights based on political affiliations. That's a black eye on the sport if substantiated, but, like Colby Covington and the political figures that he worships, they like to make a lot of claims without actual evidence. I've noticed that to be a trend recently.
In fact, like I said, we had Kid Rock in one of those videos. You can see Kid Rock right next to Trump in there.
Kid Rock right next to Trump. I wonder how the vibes were. If I could go to a Dana White post-fight presser, I would have said, how's the vibes?
I think Dana White was back there as well. So, people who kind of patriotic Americans, people who matter.
Patriotic Americans, people who matter. That's Donald Trump, that's Kid Rock, that's Dana White, and that's Colby as well, apparently.
Love Trump and the people who kind of make the rules.
If you don't love Donald Trump and suck him off 24/7, you're not a patriotic American. I mean, how does this guy have a job? I mean, is this supposed to be some type of news? I mean, this is blatant propaganda, and it's pointing out the criticism of Colby saying the judges rigged it against me. Well, apparently everyone loves Trump. Everyone, all the patriotic Americans love Trump, and he's so popular, and Colby says he's the most famous person on the planet. Well, it doesn't jive. He's either really liked and you get favoritism based on him, or he's really disliked. But that doesn't add up with the story that Colby's trying to tell here.
People in D.C. and the judges, maybe not so much.
People in D.C. and the judges. Well, the fight was in Las Vegas. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the judges, the referees, the anti-Brexit, and the guy just completely hates Trump and everything he stands for democracy, and he stands for freedoms, so.
The judges and the refs and this and that, and I think he said Brexit. Like, what? Talk about a victim complex. I know the term snowflake is kind of thrown around in the political world. I've heard that quite a bit. And it means soft. It means easily offended, from my understanding. Talk about the ultimate snowflake. You cannot accept any of your failures. You have to blame everyone else for your failures. Keep in mind, Colby's lost, 4 times, I believe? He's been finished twice, and he's lost 2 decisions. But yet everybody's against him. The refs are against him. The judges are against him. Everyone's against him. No, he has benefited from his political beliefs in the company that he works for. End of story. He's been given handouts by the UFC. This was a gifted title shot by the UFC to a guy that has 0 wins over current top 15 ranked welterweights, who hasn't won a fight since March of 2022. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of willing and able contenders that deserve those shots. And instead, Colby gets it with his mouth because he's filling it up with Donald Trump's scrotum. This is just ridiculous.
I've had my fair share of uneven fights, unfair fights where I was working against the ref and the judges. So,
there he goes again, stumbling over his words. I'm working against the ref and the judges. I mean, nothing but excuses. This guy is deranged. I genuinely believe there's a portion of him that believes this. Whether you want to say he's playing a character or not, there's a portion of him that actually believes this.
It is what it is. If the bigger the fight means the higher the calling. And that's what Trump and I are doing right now. People don't like President Trump because, he had mean tweets, but you cannot deny.
He had mean tweets, I think is what he meant to say, but it sounded like he said he has mean teats. Yeah, I guess he has mean teats. Let's skip ahead to the end of this interview because I want to show you something that I thought was very indicative of where Colby is heading with his career. because there's a lot of talk, oh, this could be the end of Colby. Who does he fight next? What happens here? I think this anchor answers the question for us perfectly of where Colby is heading, because you look at him, he's on the wrong side of 35. He's, hasn't won a fight in almost 2 years. He's had 3 title shots, lost all 3 of them pretty clearly and decisively, and has been given handouts basically his entire career, and then now is begging for dead carcasses and easy wins in the future rather than fighting actual contenders. If he sees anyone over 40 losing streak, sign Colby up to fight him. Anybody else, under 40, maybe a winning streak, he definitely doesn't want to fight him. So people are wondering, what's the future for Colby? A lot of people were saying it was the end of his career at UFC 296. I believe this is a hint at the future of Colby Covington. Listen to what this anchor has to say. Colby goes on to kind of spew some political propaganda and, talk about illegal immigrants and stuff like that. But at the end of what he says, listen to what the anchor says.
Compared to a Trojan horse, except there's a wide open border and there's no fake horse.
Well, Colby, you sound like you should be running for Senate somewhere, because when the fighting career ends, you seem to have the conservative viewpoints down pat.
So there he goes. He has the viewpoints down pack, and or pat, or whatever the hell he said. Colby Covington is aiming for a career in being one of these political grifters who lies to their audience, who takes advantage of their political beliefs. I've said this before, I'll say it again. If you are a Trump supporter, for whatever reason, you love Donald Trump, and you like Colby because of Colby's support for Donald Trump, he is grifting you. He is scamming you. He is only doing that for his own personal gain. Now, whether he believes in stuff of Trump's policies or whatever, I don't know that. But he is using you, and he's embarrassing you, because essentially the figure that Colby's playing is like a meme version of a political Donald Trump supporter. And he's making you guys look stupid. You should be ashamed of Colby Covington. Everyone should abandon ship. And I think Colby is looking at a future of one of these political figures who's a right-wing propagandist. And he's going to be one of those people that maybe have a YouTube channel, or maybe works for a news network and is one of these talking heads. I don't think it's going to be all that successful. I find it hard to believe that these people that support these right-wing beliefs are going to be like, you know what, Colby's a smart guy. Let's listen to him, about Donald Trump's mean tweets, or mean teats, as he said. I just find that hard to believe, but maybe he is. He's taken advantage of him up until this point. He's made people care about him and root for him based on his political affiliations, and then he cries foul just because he loses. Instead of accepting responsibility and admitting, okay, I need to work on some things and I need to improve if I want to be successful, it's everyone else's fault but his own. And I just think it's embarrassing, and I think it needs to be called out, especially considering I don't feel like Colby Covington's gotten enough criticism for the performance he put on at UFC 296. Imagine if that was Ian Machado Gary. Imagine if that was Conor McGregor even. Imagine if that was Kamaru Usman or Israel Adesanya or any of these fighters that are kind of disliked by the MMA community. Imagine the criticism they would have gotten for going out there in a title fight and essentially staring at their opponent. But Colby has gotten kind of a pass. That's a bit of an exaggeration. He has gotten criticism, but I don't think the level of criticism that he's gotten, reflects the fact of what he did and what he went out there and did at UFC 296. Put on a atrocious performance, afterwards claims victory and makes up a bunch of excuses, and then goes on all these right-wing talk shows just to push his future kind of career in, grifting the American public based on a political belief system. And it's just downright embarrassing. It's downright delusional. And somebody needs to call it out. And who better than me, who's been saying these exact same things for the last 9 months since it was announced that Colby Covington was getting the next welterweight title shot. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 15,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribe, share the channel, share the video if you enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for watching.